When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ledlow, and enjoy today's episode. Do you think we're going to see an increase in Middle Eastern activity in the U.S. now that we have a new administration? Seems to be pro-Middle East with Qatar, Dubai, and Saudi Arabia.
I'm super interested to see sort of what shakes out. Let's call it over the next 3 months, with sort of Trump taking off the gloves, with the Houthis, the Israelis going back into Gaza, sort of, almost so we gave you a chance and you didn't want to come and play nicely. aimed more at the Iranians more than at either the Palestinians or the Houthis, but it's like we're done playing nicely. I was listening to something yesterday talking about the cost of international shipping as a result of the Houthi attacks in that sort of Red Sea going up through the Suez Canal. Each shipment is somewhere between 0.6 and 0.7% more expensive now.
Oof. Ouch.
Either because of the security that you need to, or because now we have to spend $1 million extra in fuel to go around Cape Horn. So the cost of allowing that to continue. So if I look at sort of a business, and President Trump, businessman, business oriented. Business-oriented Middle East says we don't really tolerate that kind of thing if there's something that we can do about it.
Like you said,
taking the gloves off. Yeah, we're done playing with the Houthis. No, it's not a solution. It's an expensive effort when they can come at us with $50 drones and little inflatables.
True. Yeah, but that's happening too.
I think that's something that, from a business perspective, that the American government might want to be more involved in and leverage the capabilities of the Defense Department.
I think it's going to get hot and heavy over there, and I think being Trump's in office, we know how we respond. It's shock and awe, and I think the Houthis are just an example of what could come if Iran doesn't behave. And I watch a lot of YouTube interviews, and I think the old generals seem to be, that I've seen on YouTube, seem to be, they don't want to poke the bear of Iran because Iran can do a lot of significant damage and cause a lot of chaos in the Middle East. And there seems to be a lot of fear from generals from the Pentagon towards Iran. And they're a major player, and they have significant things they can do to create significant damage, but there seems to be a big fear from the Pentagon generals towards Iran from different YouTube videos I've been watching. So what's true, what's not? I don't know. I'm not an intelligence guy, so don't know. But I think I don't think Trump's going to play around.
No, I don't think that he will. And the ability of the Iranian regime to create havoc is like that they've demonstrated that. They've demonstrated that for 40 years, starting Beirut bombings, at the embassy in Beirut. The Iranians have a broad reach to create those individual problems. And by taking away the Houthi arm doesn't stop them from being able to do the one-off thing.
Absolutely.
But I think that if the U.S. government can be a little more proactive and sort of say, we're not going to allow the continued impact to this particular issue.
How about the theory? I heard, I'm not sure if this is theoretical, but I think Sarah did a podcast with Sean Ryan. I don't know how accurate it is, but they said something that there's so many terror cells in the U.S. after that border was opened up that we don't know about, like thousands cells just sitting in the U.S. Is that confirmed information, or is that just a theory?
No, I mean, I haven't been in the U.S. government for 20 years, so it's sort of one of those where I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, fair enough.
It might also be a little bit sensationalized.
Propaganda.
And there are plenty of, whether you're a Tom Clancy guy or Vince Flynn, those make for really, really entertaining books and good movies. And they probably drive traffic. So there's I think as with most things, there are elements of truth to that that are probably exaggerated for
viewers.
Yeah,
got it. Fair enough.
Yeah, but I haven't been around for a long time to be able to say yes or no, or I cannot confirm or deny that answer, Senator. I think there's some truth to it. I wouldn't venture a guess as to how many, and whether I think my guess would be not as many as some people would like you to believe, but more than others who are like, no, people crossing the border were not that. People crossing the border for all kinds of
everything.
Yeah,
I mean, the border was open and pretty much walk over and you could leave from anywhere.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any metal detectors, anybody IDing anybody, so who knows?
Yeah, we don't know who they are. We don't know where they went. We just know that they crossed.
That's it. Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking too. So any advice? You got a lot of government people getting let go, a lot of budget cuts right now, a lot of people that are in intelligence space losing their jobs and their roles due to things happening right now. What is your advice to those folks in the CIA that are in the intelligence space? Maybe listen to the podcast going, what the heck do I do now?
So I was, when I left, I was just short of 10 years of service. And I remember having this conversation with a guy because I wasn't sure if I was going to leave.
Yeah.
I was interviewing with the company and it was one that as far as companies go, it was a fairly straightforward, we understand your skill set and we know how to apply your skill set into the corporate space. So come work for us and basically do sort of intelligence and investigations. It was not a security consultancy at the time. So I sort of stepped into a role that was, writing, it was interviewing, it was investigations, it was eliciting information, putting together pieces of the puzzle. But I was talking to the business development guy and said, I'm 10 years in, I'm halfway to retirement. Should I go? Should I not? He's like, let me tell you something. I've been out now for 20 years and most of my buddies are now getting out. Most of them are now retiring and they're turning to me and saying, okay, now I need you to go get me the $250,000, $300,000 job. And he's like, you don't have any business experience.
Oh, wow.
Right. So his advice to me was you're very fortunate in the timing of your departure because you still have the government story that you can tell. You can still, flaunt the CIA type work. But in 10 years, you are also going to have a business mentality that then does allow you to go and chase after those chief jobs and say, not only do I have the government mentality, I can figure out ways and sort of, as much as I can understand the nuance of government policy as it applies to business, but I actually understand the business. I understand what it is that this business is about. Does it find, make, sell, whatever the product is? Because that's at the end of the day, that's what business is, right?
Yeah,
I've worked in the pharma space, worked in oil and gas. Ultimately, it's you find, you make, you sell, and how you do that. But it differs. And so my advice to people leaving the government, and there's another story. I had an employee once who just made the transition and struggling a little bit to sort of wrap her head around it. And there was the protest that was happening. There was a protest happening in Hong Kong, and it was across the street from a police station, or at the police station, and our office was across the street from that police station. So we had all the intelligence feeds telling us there's a protest, and I'm like, so my question to this person was, what's the impact to our operations? Do we need to tell our people not to come to work? Do we need to make different arrangements. Like, what can you tell me more about this protest? Is it going to be peaceful? Is it like the police going to come in? Like, what is it going to look like? And ultimately, what do we need to tell our people? And her response was, well, we're closed tomorrow. Like, why are we closed tomorrow? Because it's a holiday. It's a U.S. federal holiday. It's like, yeah, right. The embassy's closed. I'm like, we don't work for the U.S. government. That's a local company. They're not closed because it's not a local Hong Kong holiday. So sort of the mentality shift of you don't work for Uncle Sam anymore. You work for the business, and you really do need to understand the business. So advice to people leaving is sort of a if and as and when you leave, leverage the capabilities and the skills that you've developed with the government. Mm-hmm. But it's time to take off that hat and now go and jump into the business world. And if possible, and I was very fortunate, I found a place that understood my skill set.
Good.
So if you can't find that job or that company, then ideally you find somebody within your management or leadership structure that gets your background and your capability and can sort of steer you and say, hey, take off the government hat, right? Just as a reminder, we don't work for Uncle Sam anymore. Please don't worry about what the embassy is doing. Worry about what we're doing. So I think that finding somebody who has gone through that transition would be incredibly beneficial, and have just a little bit of humility. I mean, this was even I left the agency after roughly 5 years in, and almost from day one, the going conversation was, I'm worth X if I ever went out into the private sector. You're not worth what you think you're worth. You have to demonstrate that worth. And so find a job, have a little humility. I'm not saying if you've got a 20-year career, don't go take the entry-level position just to prove that you can understand business. But sort of have the conversations, do the networking, reach out to as many people as possible who have made that transition, talk to them and say, where can I plug in? Don't immediately think that you're going to go, if you're GS15 or SES, CIS, whatever, don't immediately think that you're just plopping over into the big chair. You might, and there are people who do, and good on you. But there's a humility that I think that government people need to have that says, I have some learning to do. How is it that I deploy the skills and there's some really, really good skills that government people bring into the private sector, but how to bring those, how to leverage those, and how to contribute to the find, make, sell, that bottom line. That's the piece that's going to take some people get it really fast. Other people will take a little bit longer, but that's the one piece that people need to make sure that they get.
Yeah. If you're listening to this podcast, you're leaving the government for whatever situation, I would suggest making a profile on LinkedIn and reach out to either myself or Ben and let me know. And I'll share you on my LinkedIn profile that you're looking for work. And I'm more than happy to help our fellow veterans that are looking for other things to do if you have been forced out for whatever reason. And don't be afraid to create a LinkedIn profile. I mean, LinkedIn is probably the most powerful business tool that we got right now that we can use.
Yeah. And I'm absolutely happy to connect with people. I say regularly that if there's a job that is posted and I know someone in that network, leverage me. And if nothing more, I will kick down the door with John, meet John.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. It's that easy.
And I will be full transparency. I don't know that person any better than I know. But I'm happy to broker the intro. Because the intro is so critical in a lot of these cases. It keeps you out of the applicant tracking system, the automated circular file. Like having a conversation with somebody, and even if it doesn't do anything, it's still one more node to the network.
Absolutely. And I like how you do your post on LinkedIn, the new job updates that you put on there. That's genius. I'm like, oh, that's pretty smart.
Well, I mean, I think that as security professionals, we do a really good job, and maybe this goes back to the agency and the trust thing. I think we do a really good job in helping one another.
Easily.
And I, whether it's ISC West or GSX, the big security conferences, I mean, the number of people that show up to those things, Like it is
It's
a
crazy.
big industry. It's a big
It is.
industry, and surprisingly big sometimes. And then you realize I met you because you were doing a presentation for somebody else, and you mentioned Chris and Mike. And I'm like, I know those guys, and I'm going to reach out to Mark. Right.
Yeah.
And so as
like
big
that.
as it is, if you expand, if you have one or two nodes into that industry, it gets really small really fast. And
I was doing the pitch for the Silicon Valley Security Group, and then you reached. Yeah, that's right. Silicon Valley Security Group. Shout out to you guys. I forgot about that.
So for me, it is it's a really big industry. There are lots of opportunities within it, and so I see a job that looks interesting, but it's not one that I want, or even if it is one that I want. What if I'm not the right person? Like, why would I not share that? And it's like I've run the metrics. Like as a result of me posting those things, my network has expanded by 6 or 7%.
Wow.
So that means that my nodes have gone out, and I'm not planning on needing that. I'm planning on letting people leverage me. Like the number of people who reach out, hey, can you put me in touch with you? Absolutely happy to. Had a call yesterday.
Wow.
Hey, I'll put you in touch with 2 people, and immediately brokered the intro and said, I'll leave it to you 2 to connect because I don't I don't know. Maybe there's something, maybe there's not, but now you guys do it. So the value of that is I think that it's super helpful within the industry to help each other out. I think that's sort of to me, that's what we do. It's who we are as security professionals. Like I don't own I can't protect everybody, so I've got to leverage other people. I don't own any trade secrets about how you protect people. So why would I not share best practices? Why would I not share? And so like help people out. And so that's just something I've been happy to do. And I think it helps make this massive industry into a much smaller, just because it does start to, you spider it out, you Intel chart out and be like, 6 degrees of separation. How do I know that person? Probably only 2.
Wow. That's wild. When I first started this whole thing, I think Chris Decker, my podcast producer, got on my LinkedIn, goes, you only have 1,500 connections on LinkedIn. I'm like, yeah, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
You watch this podcast, watch it blow up. And then 5 years later, we're pushing 9,400.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So it's like crazy. But, they all change their algorithms and they change how you do things. They want to make money.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably the most effective business connection tool that I've ever seen. And then I'm not sure how good Instagram and TikTok is for business. Maybe Instagram is a different genre, different platform for different needs. But I think LinkedIn is pretty good. But it has become kind of a Facebook-y almost.
Yeah, I try and ignore any of the, we'll just call it the less useful post.
Yeah,
there's some really good content that's posted on there. There's some really insightful stuff that I tend to use it more towards, I see something that I enjoy and how does it expand to the network? Because that's what LinkedIn was originally intended and built to do was, I was a super early adopter. I went back, I looked, I think I was like within the first 250,000 users of LinkedIn.
Whoa.
When I signed
early
up.
on.
Once upon a time you were able to look, and I looked back and I had, you had 1,500 for probably 10 years. I had 3.
Oh, wow.
3 connections. And it was just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this, but like, sure, I'll sign up.
Yeah, why not?
And then it rapidly grows. And I don't have anywhere close to 9,400, but you've got to use the tool if you want to expand the network. And like I said, as a result of me posting these positions, it's
working.
And it's a regular, and I am happy to meet people. I'm happy to get together. I'm happy to Zoom. I'm happy to, if you're local Bay Area, grab coffee, like all those things.
Right. Yeah. For the people, for a potential client, potential corporation that may be looking at you, what are you looking to do? You're in the entrepreneur world now. You're expanding yourself as an entrepreneur consultant. And are you looking for another chief security officer role? Or
I am, and so I'm a builder of programs, right? So I had the opportunity to learn a number of different things in the physical security world as a consultant, and then I went to work for Merck got to understand much more of the corporate security and the various components, because corporate security is beyond sort of the very traditional guns, guards, gates, right? That is still a component and will forever be a component, but there's so much more. So I grew professionally, got promoted, ran Europe, Middle East, Africa as global security head, and then came to BioMarin to build a function for a company that knew they needed something, they just didn't know what they needed. And so building a risk-based program that actually fit the company, that was fit for purpose, fit to scale. I was talking to my old boss and he said, we could have done a lot more. Like, yeah, but the company didn't need it. We gave the company what they needed when they needed it. And because I came with a sort of a proactive mentality, we got ahead of the company a little bit on some things, but never to a place where they're like, why did you do that? And so at the tail end of my time, the job was to build a corporate security function, and I built it. And as the company shrank, there was no longer a need for building. So it was time for me to go. And so, when I look at what I want to do next, I want to do that again. Like the idea of going into maintenance mode or to go into a big, large, established corporate security function that they already have, I could do it, but I want to go build something again. And so, it's sort of a little bit of a unicorn job in finding that company that doesn't have what it needs. It realizes, hey, we've hit, whether it's a revenue threshold or we're now going into markets where we haven't been before, or all of a sudden we're now entering competitive space and our people are moving around more. We've got to protect our IP a little bit. Like, so finding that company, finding the place that says, we know that our risk profile has increased and we don't have what we need to protect it. And maybe the person in place, and it's not to disparage, but like doesn't have the capability to build a program. So that's the kind of thing that I'm looking to do, is to go into a place that wants to build a corporate security piece. And whether that includes the cyber piece or not, I'm far less concerned, but I want to go. I still have a little more time to go and hustle and push and roll up my sleeves and build something. So that's what I'm looking for.
So you're still young. So the audience listening, if you're C-suite or running a program, a family office or a law firm, and you need Ben's expertise, feel free to reach out to him on LinkedIn, and people can find you on LinkedIn. So we just talked about that,
yeah.
And we'll tag him in when we post the video on LinkedIn. And you're only on social media, LinkedIn. That's it. That's all you got, right?
Okay. Yeah. Everything else is, I post a single black and white picture all day. Like I said, it's every so often I like to be on the other side of the lens. So, but yeah, my social media is intended to be on the professional side and sits on LinkedIn.
Got it. So folks, if you're listening and you find Ben interesting and you want to consult with him, partner with him, hit him up on LinkedIn and let him know, or reach out to me and I'll do an intro. And for those people leaving the government and losing their jobs, again, feel free to reach out. Then I'd be more than happy to share that you're open to work and put you on my network as well to help each other out. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we appreciate your time and listening to the podcast. And you can find us on all the podcast platforms, The Fearless Mindset. And also Mark Ledlow on YouTube. Subscribe. I think we're 118,000 subscribers on YouTube now. So we kind of blew that up. And thanks for tuning in, and catch you on the next episode of the Fearless Mindset podcast. See you soon.